Welcome to today's short lesson. In today's lesson, we want to continue with the topic energy transformations. And today we are going to look at some more examples of energy transformations. Now, to recap what we learned in the previous lesson, we talked about the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but can be transformed from one form to the other. And we also got to know that in almost all activities, there is some form of transformation of energy. That means energy changes from one form to another. And in most cases, there is the production of heat energy. That is, in most cases, heat energy is produced and lost. So those are some of the things that we talked about in the previous lesson. So today we want to use energy transfer diagrams to represent or to illustrate the transformation of energy from one form to the other. And we are going to cite several examples. Let's take the first example, and this is turning on a flashlight or a torchlight. So to turn on a flashlight or a torchlight, the flashlight device would need some battery, which will actually produce the electricity that can enable the light to turn on. So we are going to start from the battery. The battery is storing some energy in the form of chemical energy. So the battery already contains chemical energy. So we have chemical energy. And then the battery will then produce electrical energy. And then this electrical energy will further be converted into light, and eventually heat energy will also be produced. So the flashlight turns on, and then we have light energy. And if the flashlight is kept on for a long time, we also get some heat energy. So I can say plus heat energy. So this is the energy transformation that takes place when a flashlight or a torchlight is turned on. Now let's look at the energy transformation that takes place when a television is turned on. So you need to plug the television into some electrical source. So we are going to start with electrical energy. That is the electricity that comes from the socket from which the television is connected to. So we have electrical energy. And then when the TV turns on, it produces light, sound, and then heat. Eventually some heat comes out. So when the television is on, it produces light, so we have light energy. And at the same time it will be producing sound, so we have sound energy. So all these energies are produced simultaneously. And then if you keep the television on for some time, it will start producing heat. So we have heat energy. Now let's see what happens when you turn on a car engine to move the car. Turning on a car engine to move the car. The car is probably filled with fuel. So there is chemical energy in the fuel. So when you spark the car, this chemical energy is then converted into mechanical energy in the form of kinetic energy. So we'll start with chemical energy. That is stored in the fuel, and then this is then converted into mechanical energy. So if you want to be very specific, then you can state kinetic energy, because kinetic energy is a form of mechanical energy. So let's state mechanical energy. Okay, so this is the main energy transformation that takes place when you start a car. But when you start a car, this mechanical energy can be used to produce other forms of energy. So whilst the engine is turning, you would hear some sound. So we have some sound energy. And then you would also have some form of heat energy being produced at the same time. Now, if the engine is connected to the batteries, it would then charge the batteries, produce electrical energy, and then you can turn on the lights in the car to get light energy and then other forms of energy. But basically, the main energy transformation is from chemical energy to mechanical energy, or you can state kinetic energy, and then at the same time it produces some sound and heat. Now, rubbing your palms together. When you are rubbing your palms together, the energy with which you use to move your body parts, it's in the form of chemical energy. So any form of energy that involves a human being performing an action, the starting energy is the chemical energy that we get from the food that we eat. So rubbing the palm starts with chemical energy. And then whilst you are rubbing the palms together, you are moving your palms. So that is a form of kinetic energy. So you are converting the chemical energy into kinetic energy by the movement of the palm. And whilst you move your palms together, you realize that it will be producing some sound, okay, that screeching sound, and then it will also produce some heat. So we have sound energy and heat energy at the same time. Okay, so that is the energy transformation that takes place when you are rubbing your palms together. Now, generating electricity from a dam. If you remember how we described the process by which electricity is produced from a dam, the water is stored in the dam, that is, it is blocked. So there is potential energy in the water which is not moving yet. And then the dams are opened so that the water would fall at high speed. So at that moment, we have kinetic energy. And that falling water then turns the turbines, okay, which turns the turbines, and then the turbines then produce electrical energy. So let's write the energy transformation there. We started with potential energy, that is the water held in a dam. Then the water starts falling, so we have kinetic energy. Then this falling water turns the turbines, so we can state that there is some movement there. So let's say that is mechanical energy. And then the turning of the turbines then produces the electricity, so we have electrical energy. Okay, so that is the energy transformation in a dam. And then we have hitting a nail with a raised hammer. So that means the hammer has been raised already. The hammer is hanging in the air and ready to strike. So at that moment, whilst the hammer is in the air, it is not moving. So we are going to start with potential energy. Okay, and then when you swing the hammer, it then turns to kinetic energy, and then the moment it hits the nail, we hear some sound, and then when you touch the nail, you feel some heat. Okay, so when the hammer is already raised, then we have potential energy, Then the hammer is swinged, so we have kinetic energy. And the moment the hammer hits the nail, we hear some sound, and then there is also some heat simultaneously. So we have sound and heat energy. Okay, now with the next incident, we have hitting a nail with the hammer. So in this scenario, the hammer is not yet raised. So the carpenter or whoever is holding the hammer needs to use his or her chemical energy to raise the hammer before it comes down. So we are going to have the same energy transformation, but we are going to start with chemical energy before the potential energy. Okay, so since the carpenter needs to raise the hand first, we have to start with chemical energy. Then the hammer is raised, so we have potential energy. Then we swing the hammer, we have kinetic energy. The hammer hits the nail, we hear some sound, and some heat is produced. So you realize that in almost all the cases, heat energy is produced. Number 8, using an electric motor. So in using an electric motor to move a toy car, the electric motor would need to be connected to some source of electricity, because the electricity will turn the motor. Okay, so this is simply changing from electrical energy to mechanical energy, and that mechanical energy would then move the toy car, turn it or stop it or move it about. So that is what happens when you are using an electric motor. So if it is stated that it is connected to a battery, then you have to start from chemical before electrical, then mechanical. But in this case, we are just going to start from electrical energy to mechanical energy, or you can state kinetic energy. Generating electrical energy using an electric generator. So with this, it is the opposite of the electric motor. The generator has some movement in its parts, and that movement produces electricity. So this is simply mechanical energy being changed to electrical energy. Then finally, we have dissolving calcium hydroxide pellets in water. So usually when you drop calcium hydroxide pellets in water, it dissolves and then it creates some kind of effervescence, and then eventually there is some heat produced. Okay, so that heat comes from the chemical energy that is stored in the calcium hydroxides and water. So we have chemical energy being changed to heat energy. Okay, so these are some examples that we've gone through. Now you can try this on your own. What is the energy transformation that takes place if a person is speaking into a microphone and the microphone is connected to a speaker? What do you think the energy transformation would be? A person speaking into a microphone, and then the microphone is connected to a speaker. So you can leave your answers in the comment section below. So these are some examples of energy transformation in activities in daily lives. Thank you.